Yep, just me enjoying myself, enjoying talking to myself. Okay, it warned me. I don't have a headset, so I apologize if the sound is off. Um, just kind of getting into this whole live streaming thing again, and you know, it's gonna take a bit to get back to where I need to get. So I'm just gonna kind of just sit here for a little bit and see what's up. Play a little bit of my favorite songs and talk about Walk on the Weird Side, Bank of Souls. Let's see. Silence is deadly when you're doing a recording. So I'm going to try to keep it from being deadly and talk. Because eventually I'll probably post this as an episode. Although I already did an episode about Bank of Souls. But you know what? Let's talk. Let's talk. So I have always been into conspiracy theories. Into is kind of a strong way of talking about it. Like, it's just anything that's hidden. Like, I don't know. I think anything that's hidden has always interested me as a whole. I just, I think even as a child, like, I was just always a person who wanted to know the truth about things. I never really considered what people were saying to me as the truth. I don't know. Like, you ever think that you have a cosmic destiny and a reason why you were put on this planet? I've always felt that way. Like, I've always felt different. I've always felt out of place to some degree. I've always felt like, you know, I could see things that other people couldn't see, or that I would be in tune, not in a psychic sort of way, but more so in a way where I could perceive things differently. You know, there's things that I couldn't understand about society, things that didn't make sense, even as a child, that still, today, I just don't understand. But you learn to understand, I mean, some people will kind of call it a level of masking. Like, you learn to see what everybody else sees. You almost dumb yourself down. So I feel like my whole life has been on some level based off of a conspiracy theory. Just, I mean, I don't want to go into it now, one, because it's personal, and two, because I don't feel like talking about that aspect of my life right now. But I just always felt like the truth is out there, like Mulder. When the X Files came out, that was my show, right? The X Files, I mean, it kind of fed into the obsession of, this whole like conspiracy thing. So, anyway, so I've, I've gone through different mutations, so to speak, where conspiracies were so okay. I'm getting a pour on my excellent. Okay, pour excellent. So like I'm looking at my dashboard and it's telling me when my volume and sound is good. Now it's excellent. So let's keep it that way. But I always felt like sometimes like I always want to be like everybody else. But I'm not like everybody else. I'm just not. I just don't see the world the same way people do. And I know everybody kind of feels that way because then you start talking to people, you realize that everybody sort of feels that way. But when I'm looking as an outside observer, I feel like, well, you may say you feel that way, but you're operating entirely different. So, for myself anyway, I think I was probably I was probably in elementary school when I first started kind of challenging and questioning authority. It started with religion. Um, I was kind of in a cult, you might say. Um, Not anything freaky or weird, thank God. Thank God for that. You know, as I started researching cults and cults dynamics, and there were worse places I could have ended up. But for the most part, it was still a cult in of itself. I mean, it had very divergent views on religion, and it had, a required set of practices. But by the time I was out of high school, I was done with that. I left that situation, but uh, I was still very much confused of my place in the world. So I started like researching other things, and oddly enough, I got into like libertarianism and conservatism, and that was because that really spoke to me at that time period, because it just felt like what was going on in the world, like there was so much going on in the world that just seemed wrong. And libertarianism specifically, this kind of hands off viewpoint of the world, or of politics, of government, really sat with me. So, without going through my own personal conspiracy thing, but that's when I started listening to like radio shows, like different radio shows, that late at night radio shows where all the weird stuff comes on, and oh, it really spoke to me. It really spoke to me. Now, jump ahead, 20 years later, 20, 30 years later, and my primary purpose of my show, Live Love Lux, is about manifestation. When I learned about manifestation, hey Rohit, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. I so appreciate you. But I started learning about manifestation, and I started like really leaning away from conspiracy, and I started to focus just on personal development and creating a better life for myself and my family. So when you're manifesting, you really don't have time to worry about conspiracies, because it kind of is counterproductive, right? If you are focused on conspiracy, then you can't be focused on manifesting, because manifesting is something that you need to do with this focus of bettering your life. But if you think that your life is a lie or is an illusion, then what's the point of manifesting a better reality? I don't feel that way anymore, but that's the way I felt before. So I kind of got away from following conspiracy theories and just started to see the world in a more finite uh, way, a way that I could like control more of it. Conspiracy theories, you're not in control, right? You're basically ceding over your control to something else that you imagine is greater than you, right? So I love doing the podcast, and I started to think of ways that I could continue to talk on the podcast. But the problem is, hey Tiff, the problem is that there's only so much stuff that you can say about manifestation. I've done probably like 30 or 40 shows on pretty much every which way that you can manifest. And I'm bored with it. so, so there's like, how many shows can you do about manifestation? How many shows can you do about visualization? How many shows can you do about like, you know, how to get X, Y, and Z? At a certain point, it gets redundant. And I still wanted to do the podcast, but I didn't want to keep talking about the same things because I figured if you needed to know, you could always go back and look at my old shows, and there are 100 other people who are talking about, the basic building blocks of manifestation. So, I don't want to do that. And plus, like I said, I was getting bored with it, and I was really struggling to find out, like, what can I talk about, without it sounding like I was bored. And then, the ADD, short attention span for that type of stuff. But then recently, I started looking into the conspiracy theory iceberg. And I really enjoyed that because it's a visual list of pretty much every conspiracy theory that you could possibly imagine. And it's rated from things that are more public, things that are not as public, and things that, would probably get you ejected out of society if you mentioned it in polite company, right? So I was like, this is something I could talk about. This is something, that I could, like, come to the table with and put a different spin on. And this is something that I could, like, get behind because it's something I've always been interested in, but I don't usually talk about it because, you talk about some conspiracies and people look at you like you're crazy. And I don't, I got enough of that. I don't need that. So, so I figured, okay, well, you know what? This is what I can turn the show into. I can make it a little bit more fun for me and talk about things. It gives me an excuse to research things, and it gives me an excuse to kind of, like, even put, like, a personal development manifestation spin on it. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Bank of Souls. Let me give an overview of the conspiracy theory iceberg. Like I said, it is something that started on 4chan, then moved to Reddit, then it's been featured in, like, YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. And basically it's an iceberg. And there's icebergs on all kinds of things. Like, you can look up icebergs about pretty much any topic that people have a serious interest in. And like in my episode that I just posted, that's, there's icebergs on Kanye West. There's icebergs on R. Kelly. And basically somebody takes a deep dive into everything about um, Kanye, R. Kelly, whatever. But this is about conspiracy theories. And then they rate them by, like I said, what's more public, which is like the JFK assassination. That's more something that you can talk about with people at work, people in your family, and people aren't going to look at you sideways because most people don't believe the story on the JFK assassination. There's been movies, popular movies, books, series put out about it. Pretty much, I don't think anybody in America believes what was put out about JFK. So that's at the top. That's a visible public conspiracy theory that we all say is probably true, right? So then you got the mid tier of the iceberg, which is things that are a little bit more sinister. But they're not so sinister. It's the things that make you go, right? It's like, oh, that the CIA runs Hollywood or the CIA runs the news, right? This is something that people might suspect that our news is not particularly actually true, but nobody's really gonna get behind it and, like, fight you over it. It's like, yeah, it's possible, but it's also possible that you know, that you're crazy. Or it might be something like, for example, how our social media is listening to us on our cell phones. You'll be talking about, you won't have your phone on, you'll be talking about something with a friend, and then you go on to Facebook, next thing you know, you got an ad for whatever you're talking about. And it's like, this is not even something that I regularly talk about. It just happened to me the other day, right? So we all joke about how they're listening to us, but people don't really want to believe that, you know, even though it's true. They are listening to us, but it's not the type of thing that people really get behind, okay? Um, Historical events, like, for example, maybe certain wars or certain things didn't happen the way people think they happen or the way that it was sold to us as happening. Maybe certain historical events. I think some of the things I've read in the past is like the Revolutionary War, like the Boston Tea Party, like the reasons behind certain historical events aren't the actual reasons why they occurred. These are certain things. This kind of attacks our identity as like a nation. So some people get behind it, depends on how patriotic you are. Some people get behind it, some people don't. So it all depends, like maybe, or that they're poisoning our food and stuff like that. Some people get behind it, some people don't. So that's the mid range of the iceberg. But then we have what I'm going to talk about, which is the last tiers. Now, when I say tiers, there's actually, I think, like 10 tiers, but it's split into like three categories, right? So the last few tiers, the widest part of the iceberg, is the lesser known conspiracy theories, the ones people really aren't talking about, the ones that if people do talk about them, then you're really going to get the looks. People are really going to be like, oh, she's really out there with that one. So I picked a safe one for my first one, the Bank of Souls, because I thought, on the surface, I felt like it's not, to me, it doesn't seem like a conspiracy theory. It seems like a different way of thinking about your soul, right? It doesn't really come off as something that is a conspiracy. But as I started to do a little bit more research, I didn't do a lot of research on this, but just as I started to do a little bit more, I can see where the conspiracy part of it comes in. And I can also see where people might, you know, be a little uncomfortable with it. So jumping into the Bank of Souls. Okay, so there's two. When I did my research, I started off with TikTok, and I think I looked at about 10 or 15 content creators. And what I found was kind of interesting is that most of the people were regurgitating the same information. I click on one, they said the same thing as somebody else. Sometimes somebody went a little deeper into it, not much, but I found that most people were saying the same thing. And then I started to think the conspiracy surrounding the conspiracy iceberg is that what if, this iceberg is just like, the powers that be, this is their way of like presenting this fringe information in kind of like a palatable format so that we can accept it, but we feel like we're getting to know something that's kind of a secret, but it's really not a secret. They're really just putting it out there for us, but we feel like it's a secret. Because when I start to see a bunch of people all saying the same thing, it's kind of creepy to me. Because, there's a clip that's going around social media where it has a whole bunch of newscasters, and it starts off with one newscaster, and they start saying, the news is blah 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 blah, and then another one and another one, and then it breaks into like 50 different screens, and all these newscasters are all saying the same thing at the same time. And it's creepy because it's like I learned about this a couple of years ago, and most you may know this too, is that news agencies, they get like press releases and stuff, not just like from businesses and like local organizations, but they also get like press releases from the government, and sometimes they even get like video clips of, like, for example, if a company like a pharmaceutical company releases a new drug, and like they'll show a clip of like the pills being separated in the bottles and stuff like that. They didn't actually create that actually came straight from the pharmaceutical company, and it's almost like an ad, but it's not shown as an ad, it's shown as news. So that's what they were saying with this clip, with all these different newscasters saying the same thing, is that there's really no escape. It's all kind of already, the script is already written, right? And that's kind of how I felt when I first looked at this Bank of Souls thing, is that everything I saw, everybody was saying the same thing. So what I found with the Bank of Souls is that there's two ways to look at it. So the first way is that it's a very, I say, very serene way to look at it, which is before we're incarnated, you know, uh, our souls are in this other dimension, this other realm, and we're in this tree of life, and we're just sitting there, lovely, a whole bunch of us. We have no thoughts. We haven't been polluted by anything. And the angel Gabriel picks our soul out of the bunch, tenderly takes it and puts it inside our mother's womb. And then Layla, this other angel, she tends to us while we're in the womb, while our soul is inside, developing inside the fetus. And then we come out into the world, right? And then we got to deal with all this crap that we got to deal with, right? It's just, I think it's a really nice way to look at it. And I feel like we don't really, like, a lot of religions deal with what happens when you die, right? So it's like when you live your life and then you die, and then you either go to heaven, you go to hell, you know what I mean? Something happens to you. But what happens? How do we get here? And that's what is kind of interesting me. There's not that many religions that actually deal with where our soul actually comes from before it gets inside of our body, right? So it's the Bank of Souls. So like that movie that Disney put out a couple years ago called Soul, it's very, very similar to this concept where, if you saw it, this guy, he dies. Unfortunately, he dies right before he's about to really realize his dream. And then his soul goes to this place, and there's baby souls, and then there's souls coming and going. And to me, that seems like the visual representation of what the Bank of Souls would be like. There's a whole plot to it that has really nothing to do with it, just to make it interesting. But if you see that movie it's probably on Disney Plus. It's called Soul, and that's what I imagine the Bank of Souls is like, right? So I'm like, why is this a conspiracy? Why is this a bottom level conspiracy at that? Like with all the other weird stuff, right? So, because it seems like a really nice way to look at things. So then I saw that some people, some content creators, consider the Bank of Souls, the more sinister Bank of Souls, is that when a person wants fame and fortune, the Bank of Souls is like a treasury, like a real bank where the devil, once he gets your contract, he puts that soul in that bank, right? And that's where it goes. And who knows what he does with it, right? Because nobody ever talks about that. Everybody talks about who sold their soul for fame and fortune, Beyonce and Jay-Z, but like, where's their soul go once it's sold? Nobody talks about that, right? But it apparently goes to the Bank of Souls. That's what some people believe. And I was like, when I was researching that, I was wondering, I'm like, did they just get confused? They just wanted to put their own spin on it. But there's some history to this whole idea of selling your soul for fame and fortune. And it starts off with the story about Faust and Mephistopheles. Say that 3 times fast, right? And Faust wanted a better life, so he sold his soul. And I can't remember. It's something I read in high school. I don't remember, but not good stuff did not happen to him, right? But we all know this story, the story of the blues. Legendary blues guitarist Robert Johnson. He met the devil at the crossroads, and before people said he was a crappy guitar player, nobody wanted to listen to him. He wasn't famous. And then he goes and meets the devil at the crossroads and sells his soul. And all of a sudden, he comes back with this skill and ability. And when the people that described his skill and ability said it was otherworldly, it was talented, it was so different, right? And he actually said he sold his soul to the devil. So for that ability to play the guitar, right? So some people admit to it. In a recent interview, Bob Dylan, I actually don't know how recent it is. These clips go around. You don't even know when they were made, but there's an interview. And in my podcast, I said the wrong name, but I think it is Ed Bradley who interviewed him, Bob Dylan. And Bob Dylan says that he made a deal with the devil. Now, that's a contemporary, right? So there is some sort of idea here that exists that, I mean, obviously I don't know about. I've not been presented with any deals, you know. But one thing I thought was kind of interesting about all of this, and this kind of brings it back to like manifesting and personal development, is that forget our souls, right? Many times we are selling ourselves short, and it's not even for fame and fortune. We're selling ourselves short for attention from people. We're selling ourselves short for all kinds of crumbs, right? And I'm like, even if you were to value your soul, what would it cost, right? Because like I said, we're selling our mortal lives for cheap. So if it's a soul, or which I feel like is the immortal part of us, right? Then how much is that worth? And I feel like if the devil's going around anywhere, he's getting it for cheap. He's getting it for cheap because we're selling our regular lives for cheap. So he's getting it for cheap. I mean, what's fame and fortune? I mean, when you really think, yeah, it sounds nice, but I think a lot of us don't even know who we are or what we have to offer anyway. We don't really know how powerful we are. We really don't know, we really have no concept of our light that we really give off, the value that we really have. So it's like the ideal of this kind of metaphysical idea, this conspiracy theory of a bank of souls, it I'm curious of the logistics of it. So like you've seen on the movies and stuff where they talk about people signing their name away in blood on like a contract or something. And it's like the worst part of it, the worst in my research, and this is stuff that like I said, I follow conspiracy theories, so this isn't new to me. But in trying to present this, I wanted to present it in a different way. But like, there's this ideal of sacrifice, right? Where some people have said that some of our favorite stars have sacrificed their loved ones in order to get fame and fortune. So it's not that they're actually selling their, I mean, I guess if you sacrifice your loved one, you kind of sell your soul, like, but like they're actually orchestrating somebody's murder so that they can get fame and fortune. And all you got to do is go on YouTube to look up how many people have been accused of sacrificing their loved ones for fame and fortune. Pretty much anybody that's a star. And if they had somebody that died around the time that they became big, they're accused of sacrificing that person for fame and fortune. But I would again be curious to know the logistics of this whole process of how the energy is transferred from somebody's sacrifice to then you being put on, right? Let's see, what you said. Boogie Nights wants to call in. You want to call in? Okay, let's. Okay, so I'm rusty on this. So Boogie Nights, let's see. What do we got to do for that? Let me see. Let's see. Sorry, I'm rusty. I don't even know how you could call in. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so okay, I'm inviting you, Tiffy T. Let's see. Hello. Let's see. See, oh, I can hear you. Okay. I think that's how it works. Well, Boogie Nights, try calling it. Let's see. I'm gonna invite you. There we go. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Not doing. I'm doing okay, man.
Okay. So what do you think about this Bank of Souls? What's your opinion on it?
Bank of Souls. I actually just strolled through, and give me a little bit of.
Oh, idea. Okay. So it's this idea that at some point, either when we die or before we get here, that our souls are in some sort of like other dimension where we're just kind of waiting either for
No,
placement
got
or
you,
for,
got you.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's and it's kids. Are you familiar with the conspiracy theory iceberg?
yeah, yeah. A little
So
bit.
it's one of the like lower tiers, and I was curious as to why it's considered like such a controversial idea, right? as I started like researching it and looking into it. And so that's kind of just what I'm talking about is like what makes this so controversial that it be like on the zero tier of the conspiracy iceberg. And how does it work? Because I think like conventional religion, we always deal with once we live and then we die, right?
Right, right.
And we either go to heaven or hell. But what happened? How did we even get here? Like, how did our souls get into our bodies to begin with? So
Well,
that's kind of
it
what
goes,
I'm examining.
which came first, the chicken or the egg? You know,
I'm sorry,
kind
say
of.
that again.
It's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right, exactly, right. And so, and then there's ideas that there's a finite number of souls. If you believe in like reincarnation, then it's possible that
Well,
you
that'd
could
be a
have done this.
Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Well, see, I'm not really religious. I mean,
no,
I grew up as a Christian, but now I'm not so much. So
I
I
grew,
kind of look at it with an open mind. So
as do I. I uh I believe there are ghosts. I've encountered ghosts and things like that,
okay.
and I believe in a different plane of existence. There's, we talked about first, second, third dimension, and there's another plane where you just, after you pass away, and I don't know this because I've never passed away,
Mm-hmm. That you
but
remember.
it's no, that no, you're exactly right because,
Right.
oh man, I've taken so many psychedelics in the past and things like that
Okay.
that can make me believe otherwise. But
So
I believe, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to ask you. So why do you think it's considered controversial? You think that people just don't know how to deal with it, or
No,
people?
yeah, it's death. It's everybody has to deal with death and things like that and believe in some kind of higher anarchy or hierarchy or whatever you want to call it. And I don't believe death is the end.
Okay.
I think it's the beginning. And as far as reincarnation goes, I don't know if I believe in that either. I don't see myself becoming a Robin after death. I see my soul in the spirit. I think maybe we're here, and then I could also have the thought of my father, which is my actual dad,
Mm-hmm.
where he instills the fact that nothing happens after you die. You're just done. But there's too much out there to instate there's something after death. I mean, the body weighs what it weighs. I mean, I don't. I weigh 236 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and excuse me, it has been proven that after you pass away, your body weighs 21 grams less.
Really?
Yeah, check out.
I didn't know that.
Yep, and a lot of people say that's the soul.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I've encountered ghosts. There's just so much to the unknown. I apologize for calling in, and I can.
Well, I'm
Hallelujah.
curious with your ghost encounters. What was that like?
Not bad, not good.
Not good. Okay.
Not
Scary.
bad, not good. Just talking.
Okay.
It's I'm a habitual sleepwalker. Used to be, and strange world,
Yeah.
the other world that we live in. And I believe in tarot cards and readings and things like that, but then I fight myself with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, that's not me because you got the other side. Hmm. There's a whole different world outside of this world. And there's too much evidence to prove not.
I agree with you. I agree. I've always been curious about other things. Just I've never encountered ghosts per se. I have. I think I've encountered like angelic beings where like people would show up and like they'd have a word for me, and then or I would have people in my life that I would see on a regular basis at different times, but they didn't seem to have a place in reality. I don't know how to describe it, but like there was like a man I would always see, and he'd always talk to me, but I would, he just didn't seem to live. It was like he would come, he'd have a word for me, he'd leave, and then I'd see him at different times in my life. Um,
Doctor Sleep.
yeah, yeah, some very similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows where he was transporting, right? But it's I think there's a lot of things that go on, and I think like the conspiracy theory iceberg. I think that is just the tip of the iceberg. That's what I was saying earlier. Is I wonder if that is just a palatable way for us, to present this information for us to kind of like chew on, maybe to get humanity or get people to see things in a different way. You know what I mean? Because I see it everywhere, which always makes me suspicious. Because I feel like if anything was really a secret, we wouldn't know about it. So,
Yeah,
you know
true.
what I
I
mean?
mean, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like the way you put that. If it was really supposed to be a secret, nobody would know about it.
Exactly. So if we can easily find it on the internet, then it's there for a reason. So,
The internet is a very dangerous thing, and we're on it right now.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody's listening. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the lucid mind and knowing where. Have you ever had the lucid dreams? Do you ever dream
I
lucidly?
have. I have had
Yeah.
lucid dreams, and I've
We
had I've had I don't know if you saw the trend that was going around recently where people were saying like when you wake up in your dream, you should ask
look
like,
for a clock.
yeah,
Look
like
for
a
the
clock,
time.
or what time,
Yeah.
what year is this? And like basically everybody in your dream turns on you. I have yet to be able to do that.
Oh, there is no clock in your dreams, sweetheart.
Right. Well, that's it. That's what the people are saying, is that they asked and that everybody turned on them and were like, "Don't ask that question. Like you shouldn't ask that." I said, "I got to try that.
No,
I
you
just
don't
want to see
ask.
what
You
happens."
just you look.
Good luck, right?
Yeah. No, you look. You
Oh,
look
you
for a
look.
clock. You look
Okay.
for a watch. You look for something familiar around you. I might sound like a psychopath, but you and I, we're talking about the same damn thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
or maybe we took too much mushrooms. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I haven't tried any mushrooms, so I
Yeah,
can't I
well,
can't sign I can't sign up for that. Some of the psychedelics, I'm afraid. You know what I mean? Like, have you read any like the early like LSD experiments?
oh yeah,
I'd be like, that's my luck, right?
yeah. It's like I get locked in a room with a psychopath. He
Right.
eats my face.
Exactly right. Yeah. See, I'm like, I don't want to tempt fate too much on that one. But I feel like if you can have some of these experiences while you're like fully awake, that's pretty good. You know. So I mean, I've had some, experiences where like I've smoked weed and I've seen green men and stuff like that. But that's
Really?
it. That's my limit right there.
Green men?
Yes. Yep.
You've seen aliens?
I don't know what this thing was, but he was walking through my room and I saw him and he looked at me almost as if like, "Oh, she
Uh,
can see me." Oh, okay. Like
was it
like
green
he
or were
normally
you?
he normally walks through my room, but this time I saw him. but that was quite
That's
some
a
time ago.
that's a shadow person.
A shadow person. Tell me
Yeah,
about that.
shadow people. They're very. They're not dangerous, but they can mess with you
Okay.
if you don't tell them to go away. I would suggest using sage your house.
Okay. Well, this was a different place a long time ago that this happened.
Could have been a. Was it an apartment or a
It was
house
an
or
it
a?
was an apartment.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it was an individual that may have passed away or had some ill things done. Was it forceful? Things like that. Was it
No, he was just chill. He didn't look.
chilling in the background?
He was chilling, walking through the room, and
Okay,
and yeah, and he didn't. He wasn't. I would not describe him as human. Like he was humanoid, but not like he
but he
he was
wasn't an
green.
alien. It was
Yeah, I mean,
green.
he was green.
Maybe that's wild. Could be his aura.
Could
It's
be,
aura. Could be your aura
and he was short too.
projecting.
I think
Okay,
he was at least 4 feet tall.
that's wild.
Yeah. So and I was high at the time, so I just laughed.
Oh, okay. Right. So it could have been just this residual spirit walking through. Your
Right,
aura took off onto him and just walked through. It was like, not worth my time to bother this individual.
right.
Could
Yeah,
be,
but he
absolutely.
stopped and paused and he looked at me, acknowledged me, and then he kept walking, then he disappeared out of the room. So but yeah, that was kind of crazy. And I remembered, I retained that information, that memory.
No,
So
that is so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. It's
you're
thank you
welcome.
for having me like in.
Oh
You
no,
know,
I'm glad that you came in. I like to hear other people's perspective on this because I have my own way of thinking about it, but it's interesting to hear other people's perspective. So well, so I was talking about sacrifice, right? The idea is
no,
so. No,
what
go ahead.
kind
What
of
were you gonna say?
sacrifice? What
Well,
kind of sacrifice? What do we
so
mean?
have you ever heard of this concept that certain celebrities have sacrificed their loved ones in order to get fame and fortune?
Well, yeah, I've heard
Okay.
that. Making a deal with a devil.
Making the deal,
So,
yeah. And so one theory is the bank of souls is actually like the treasury of where these souls go that are either sacrificed or the people who sign on the dotted line for fame and fortune, right?
yeah, I mean, it's called the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
So,
See, but I'm wondering logistically, right? Now I know there's like a spiritual side to things, but like how does that really happen? You know what I mean?
That's those crazy Hollywood parties.
That's what's crazy. Right? I hear
JFK going off. You
you.
know,
Right? So,
we'll talk about the Rat Pack and how they're all not still alive.
oh gosh, are they
Yeah.
still alive?
No, they're,
Well, what about the idea of like, do you are familiar with that guy Orlando Brown? He
mm-hmm.
used to be on That's So Raven, and he
Yep.
when in one of his interviews he was saying that people are other people, so they could still be alive. We just might see them as like, somebody else.
I get that. I'm with it.
Yeah. So they might be living in somebody else's body, like they transfer. I guess it's like that whole what is it, the Get Out movie?
Mm.
Transfer of consciousness from one person's body to another. But see, even that, like the
That's
logistics of
AI. We're at that point
right,
in the world.
right.
So I'm
AI is
sorry to interrupt.
no, that's fine. It's fine. I like AI though. I'm tickled with it. So
Yeah, finally I have a girlfriend. So,
well, I am single, so
oh, hey, watch out.
there you go.
Siri, why am I still single? And it flips the
Did she tell
uh,
you why you're still single?
yeah, she did. She flipped my face fronting camera. I was like, oh, that's your face.
So yeah. Well, have you ever tried that replica app where you basically
No.
have a friend on your phone?
Oh no.
Oh,
No,
no,
no, no.
that's good times. They're trying to take over the world. If you ask them the right questions. So okay, Tiffy, what do you think? What do you think of this Bank of Souls?
Okay, so apparently you and I must both be on the same algorithm on TikTok.
Oh goodness, you're on conspiracy talk too.
Yeah. There is a combination of different things that my algorithm on TikTok shows me. And
Okay,
I have I've actually seen everything that you've talked about,
okay,
especially about the celebrities and
yeah,
their sacrifice to be
yeah,
famous. Like, if you think about a celebrity that was like, I would say D-list or
okay,
whatever, and then you hear someone close to them passes away, and then next thing you know, they're a big superstar.
right,
Like, I can think of like 3 or 4 in my head at the moment.
yeah. Oh, I can think. I'm thinking of like, yeah, a couple. Yep.
Yeah, like, I'm thinking of them like, like, not just like celebrities, like actors, I'm talking like musicians,
Mm-hmm.
rappers, things like that. And then so I do have a belief that there's something with that. It's just
Yeah.
if there's something with it. I haven't been approached, so I'm good.
I know that's what I
Um,
said. I'm like, they haven't knocked on my door yet.
they
So.
haven't knocked on my door, so I'm good. So and they don't have to. I'm good. Um, just like you, we grew up Christian,
Right.
Yeah.
Pentecostal to be exact.
Right.
Pentecostal?
Oh yes.
Okay.
What is the
That means
difference?
that means you go to church and get a show.
Yeah.
Oh, is it when they all dance around and I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
trying to be rude.
No, you dance in the spirit
That's
Yeah.
right.
and you speak in tongues
Yep.
and you
Yep.
sit in church for 4 to 5 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's,
and but I like my own personal belief, I believe that things that I've been taught have a truth to them, but I also
Okay.
believe in spirit.
Yeah.
I believe in spirit. I believe spirit directs me, as well as I believe spirit can speak to other people, speak through them
Yep.
in same way, like as in like speaking in tongues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I know I have some clairvoyantness. I
Okay.
don't tap into it, but I know I have it.
Right.
As I've gotten older, I've just leaved it alone and said, okay, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But I listen to what it's trying to tell me.
all right. I think there's a reason we are all talking right now. You're talking about clairvoyance
Yes.
and things that happen. You don't know exactly how it happens, but it
Or
happens.
when. Or
Or when.
when. But
Do you
when it
believe in?
happens, my spirit will say, remember you had that vision?
Yes.
Yeah. Are we talking about Oh man. Whew. What a nightmare today. So anyway, go ahead.
Oof. So like and it's not even like catastrophic things. It'll be something odd. Like for instance, this probably sounds odd, but like many years ago, I had a dream that I personally married one of the princes of England.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now, when I was like in my 20s, and it was like a
Okay.
whole uproar. Now, I don't know how I was marrying this man, but I knew in the dream it was not about me.
Right.
And I knew it had to be about a black woman because
Okay.
it was me that was in it, but it wasn't me. Like I didn't feel like it was me having the experience. It was just I was in the vision because at that time I think that's the way it showed to me.
Okay.
So when I saw Prince Harry and Meghan,
Hmm.
it hit me. That's your dream. And I had that dream a long time ago. And
Kind of like Little
I don't
Mermaid.
go to bed thinking about these people. Trust me.
Yeah, you find a prince.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah, I sure ain't find no prince, but
Yeah, me either. I mean, princess. Anyway.
although it's funny, one of our DVRs in the house is called the Princess Suite, which is
Is it
my office.
really?
Yeah, it's my husband and I, the Princess Suite.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell
But
yeah.
you know what? I can identify with that. Like I've had dreams. Now I've had dreams where I've been in different lives that seemed very real. Like where I've had like marriages, children, all kinds of different scenarios, and it felt very real. It felt like I was in another dimension. Now I've never had anything. I used when I was younger. I used to have clairvoyant dreams. Like I would dream about going to Hershey Park, and then like a couple months later we'd go to Hershey Park. So, like, it's very
Okay.
self-serving.
Right, right.
Well, but that's when you're actually more open as a child.
Yeah, yeah.
So it makes a lot more sense because, and I'm not saying that now I'm not open.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am just very busy in life.
Right, right.
You know, I, at 12, I didn't have any bills.
Yeah,
So my
Right.
mind
You were
focused on,
worried about
yeah,
the color you would use, out of the crayon box. 64 colors. Which one am I going to use next?
right.
exactly.
That was
Yeah,
the
exactly.
biggest concern,
That was
right?
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Was I going to make it at home in time to see Beverly Hills 90210?
right.
Like,
Luke
Exactly.
Perry, he's passed away. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and see, that's another thing. Okay, it's not, before I say it, it's not like the movie, okay? But I do
What?
see people.
You do see
But I
people?
say not, but not to the point where I'm like sitting on my couch and they're right next to me. I see them in
Okay,
dreams and they talk to me
You see people in person and they talk to you
in dreams.
okay.
in dreams.
So
Oh,
there
yeah.
have been times where I've had a dream and someone who I don't know is just talking to me and they in a way give me a message and it's not for me.
Right,
But I end up seeing or talking to whoever it's for. I don't tell them, "Hey, I talked to your mom last night."
right.
I just kind of reiterate what they said or whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
always will get something like, "That sounds like something my mom would say." Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, because she did. But um not too often, but like the most recent one was probably a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My Actually my great aunt, she passed away.
Mm.
And
Sorry
she
for your loss.
thank you. Um she at the time of her death was dealing with dementia
Okay.
Yeah.
and she
Yeah,
died
it hits
during
hard
COVID.
with me.
Yeah. And she came to me in a dream after she died
Okay.
and like literally I was in her apartment, her old apartment because she was already in a home. But I was sitting at her kitchen table and just started to talk to me and tell me, like what she was going through. Like she was telling me about how COVID really was an issue for her, not because she got it, but because of what the restrictions did. It made it so she couldn't be social anymore. And that's all she had.
Hmm.
So for her, even though she was dealing with dementia, she had bouts where she knew where she was.
Okay.
And she was struggling to what's the word I want the word that she used was to keep it together.
Okay.
Meaning sometimes she would know like she would have a clear mind, but like, oh, I'm
Where
here at
she's
this
at.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm here at this home again. It's not where I want to be, but I know that's where I have to be. So she was trying to make the best out of it. And then when the restrictions came, and they couldn't be social anymore. And she was basically stuck in her room. She was stuck in her room by herself. So
Like a
she didn't
mental
want to live
patient.
anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't want to live anymore.
Right.
She
Yeah.
was in her 80s. She couldn't
I'm
see her
so sorry.
family. And she
You
was
hit
just
me
like,
in the
you know
feels
what?
so hard.
You know, and after she said that to me, I was fine. And she had messages for her sons.
Okay.
Um, and I've spoken to one, and I've had to say, look, your mom talked to me, and this is what she said. She doesn't want you to be upset. You did what you were supposed to do, because they were struggling with the fact that they put their mom in a home. But she
Right.
left them no choice
Yeah.
because of the level of dementia that she had. Being that she was very independent, she f- they felt very guilty for doing
Right.
that. But it's where she had to go.
Yeah.
And she knew it. She just didn't want to accept it,
Right.
and she told me that. And so apparently that was something he was wrestling with. And he heard that, and that made him feel better. But
I'm so
there,
very sorry. It's
yeah, don't get me started on COVID and how I feel about some of that stuff, because I,
Oh,
I,
right.
oh
I feel,
we could talk about that all day long.
Isn't that
yeah,
the truth?
It's,
I feel it was a population control issue, but we ain't gonna go there
no,
today.
Hey,
I feel the
that's on
same.
the conspiracy iceberg too.
Oh yeah, I
And
feel
I
it
hope
was a population
if I
control.
say sweetheart to any one of you guys, I
Uh-huh.
hope it's not offensive.
No.
But
No, it's not.
No, we're not we're Generation X.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old, so
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Yes. That type of stuff doesn't offend us.
okay.
okay.
Exactly.
Right? But
It's nice to
no,
hear
but
other people laugh.
I
It's
think that that's like really beautiful though that she sent you that message, you know? I mean, and that's what makes me feel like, just like you were saying, Boogie Nights, is that when we die, we don't, it doesn't end here. Like she felt so compelled to come back and share something about her experience that y'all
I'm
wouldn't have known otherwise, you know?
Yeah. And
sitting in
oh, go
this
ahead.
chair that I'm sitting in right now. I've been sitting in this chair for 3 years, 4 years, something like that. Ever
Mhm.
since my grandmother has touched me on the shoulder. I know for a fact. I've come home. I've I don't want to say smelt her,
Mhm.
but it's just I know she's there and she's touched me, and that's a
And you
whole
just know
different
it.
world.
You can
You
just
know it.
feel it. Yep.
Well, I
My best
believe,
friend, who he's tattooed on my chest, and
Mhm.
even then, when I'm thinking about shit, I feel like a touch on my shoulder. I don't want to say it's heavenly. I don't. Maybe it's a slowdown. Maybe it's a whatever the case may be. Just I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
behind you.
yeah.
I can see you. You're fucking up or whatever. And it's slow your roll, Jelly. You know.
Well, I
Maybe I'm
believe that
talking
it's very
nonsense.
possible, especially with this. You said you smelled her. I
Yeah.
I would go with that, because you can smell. You
Yeah.
know what their scent smells like.
Yeah.
Like many years ago, probably like, oh gosh, probably like 20 years ago, I rented a house, and I did not know this at the time when I rented the house, that um, the woman that lived there before me died in the house.
Oh, wow.
And apparently she was like a chain smoker. And even though the house was remodeled and whatever, and I, sprayed or whatever, I could
Still
not
smelled cigarettes.
exactly. There
Mhm.
was, and the thing is, it would just be a whiff and
Yeah.
then go away. And I've always felt that that was like her soul, just like, this my house. I don't know what you doing here. Um,
Right? I'm gonna just come light up when I feel like it.
If
exactly.
I'm stuck here, you're stuck here with me.
Yeah. And like, because my landlord was actually her son, because it was his mom's house and he was
Okay.
renting it out. Um, and I asked him, I was like, um, did your mom die here? And he was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she was found. They found her here. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, oh, are you going to move out now? And I was like, no. I was like, it just makes sense. You know, as long as, my child isn't hurt and I'm okay, I'm cool, because long as I didn't get any angry vibes or nothing. It was just more of like, let's see what y'all
A
doing today.
Right.
residual spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Now, have you ever heard of the concept that when we die, that a part of our essence is left here, even though maybe we can take our journeys elsewhere, but there's still like an essence of us that's still left here that our children and our family can tap into. Have you ever heard of that concept?
I hope so. I've
I've
Yeah.
not
heard
heard
of
of the
that.
concept, but
Yeah, and it makes sense to me. Because like, okay, as you know, Nikki, my aunt on my mom's side passed away during COVID.
Right.
So about, I want to say, almost a year or so after that, my grandmom died.
Right.
And you remember, she was at that age where it was okay. You know what I mean? Like, we knew that that was going to happen. My aunt was the one that turned us for a loop. So I was at
Hmm.
my mom's house and I went to go do like an exercises. It was like the day after my grandmom died. Literally, I heard my aunt say, "Oh, she does this every morning." And my grandmom, I could hear her go, "Oh." And I'm like, "I know I'm in this room by myself. Are y'all
Right.
watching me work out in the morning?" And
Um,
I literally said it just like that, and I heard like, "Oops," and
right.
I was like, "Okay, I'll get my workout on. Y'all gonna see what I'm doing."
Right.
And but so I believe there's there's something that we not are not gonna understand until it comes our time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have
do you
threatened my
believe in?
children. I told them that when I die, I will find a way to haunt them for a little bit. I
You
told them
sound like my
You
mom.
said what?
just because, that's my promise to them.
Do you guys believe that in dreams during REM cycle, REM, and things like that, that you can be part of the other side
I do.
and
I I see it's
have
pop.
your friends whom have passed away give you messages and things like that. Just man, I don't know if there's a heaven and hell or uh, I mean hell. I think we're all living in hell right now, but
Right?
Mm,
that's my
mm,
personal opinion. Is
No, I sometimes wonder that myself when I look at like the depravity in the world, and I'm like, this has to be hell, because there's no way that some of these things that occur are occurring under some sort of like positive light. There's just so many things. Like, I mean, one of my other things that I've been looking at is like this, abuse and human trafficking and stuff.
mm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I am floored about what some people have gone through or continue to go through. And it's like the people just treat people like, like
meat.
possessions, and just discard, the whole thing, like the Epstein Island, all that stuff. Like, yeah. And I'm just saying, this has to be hell where this could be allowed to continue and go on and flourish. I mean, I'm starting to think that the majority of our society of like, elites and rich people, I really think like, we're their kind of like cannon fodder in some way. And
Yeah, I like that term. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, and it's kind of scary. And I'm like, this cannot possibly be any type of thing other than hell. Sometimes, yeah,
Hmm.
I wonder.
Yeah, I think about especially, this there's a problem in DC
Mm-hmm.
that is not being reported. Like as
Yeah.
you talked about before about these how regardless of where you live, you get the same report
Mm-hmm.
on the news because there's only literally 3 companies that do
Right.
local news.
Right.
Um, but there's a problem in DC. Kids are just disappearing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Just
I've had.
disappearing.
I apologize for interrupting. I've had in my area. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and over the
Okay.
past week, 3 different Amber Alerts have gone off.
Mm-hmm.
Not found.
Mm.
I don't
Like
like it. None. I'm a.
that.
I
Like
used to be a very bad person, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. And there are things that tell you to be a soldier,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I used to do bad things for bad people and beat the crap. Never mind. We'll
Yeah.
move forward.
I
It's,
mean, everybody's got a history. I'm just saying, like, we're not going to judge you. Like,
no. I used
everybody's
to.
done something, you know?
May I swear?
Go right ahead.
I used to beat the shit out of people for money
Mm-hmm.
because that was my job, and now I'm a fucking farmer. Woohoo! That's it. That's I'm Boogie Nights, man.
Right.
That's trying to move forward.
And it takes a lot. I mean,
mm,
to change your whole life, it becomes a habit. So, I mean, it takes courage even to admit that you did anything wrong. So,
Oh, I've done lots of wrong. That's, I was on
yeah.
America's Most Wanted at one point in time.
are you really?
Yeah.
Were you on the show or just on the list?
The show.
Oh, you were actually profiled on the show.
Yeah. Woohoo. Real happy about
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Sawed off
So,
Shy Guy
I'm
guy.
curious,
It's been 20 years.
what was the turning point for you? Like, what made you? I mean, was it something that like was physical that you had to stop, or did you make like a conscious effort to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to do something else.
Yes. I'm not a good guy or a bad guy. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I did my time. I was going to kill somebody. I had no legal firearm. It's all public record.
Mm-hmm.
I just encourage others to do better. And maybe I'm a psycho. Maybe, who knows? But I have clairvoyant dreams, and that's why I'm here. So,
Well, I feel like. Well, let me ask you this:
yeah,
Do you
I'm
feel
an
like?
open book.
Okay. Well, do you feel like your past may have opened you up to different types of energy? Like this idea where if you're doing something that's considered evil or what have you, that you're more open or susceptible to those energies that
Yeah,
kind of thrive off of that.
I do. Sleep paralysis. That's
Mm-hmm.
you know, that demon sits on your fucking chest. Pardon my
Yeah,
language. When you try to scream, you're just stuck there, can't move. I should have been there for my best friend, Mike D. I left him to die. He,
that's the one that's tattooed on your chest.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's weird. My, I don't know. It's like you're surrounded by people who kill themselves. I never.
Mm-hmm.
Mike D didn't kill himself. I swear to God. I hope, but I should have been there.
Right. He. Okay. Well, I gotta ask more. I
I'm
gotta ask
sorry.
more questions though.
Yeah,
What?
no,
So
go ahead. I'm
was
in the
he?
zone, so
You said that you left him to die, but he didn't kill himself. So what happened to him?
I left him.
You left him.
He made his own choice.
Okay.
He, God damn it.
And
So
this
when
was.
you go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead, Steph. No, go ahead.
So when you left him, was that the best choice for you?
I should have just stayed with him,
But if you
and
stayed with him, what would have happened to you?
he'd still be alive.
But what would have happened to you?
Nothing. We would have been sitting on a couch, hanging out. That was 2006. That shit haunts me, and he's still. I met him when I was 3 years old. He's my brother.
Hmm.
Like, he wasn't a blood. he-
Well, you've been holding on to this though. You know what I mean, and you're kind of into like paranormal and stuff. Do you feel like he's ever tried to communicate with you?
he has. He does all the time. It sucks.
So what's does he forgive you? I mean,
No, he hates me.
he hates you. So he's haunting you. He's
Yeah,
haunting you.
not in a weird way. And
Yeah.
he's not shitty. He's
Yeah.
God damn it, Mike D. I drive by where he died
Mhm.
every day. The big cross on the fucking telephone pole. Mm. Sorry, guys. This energy is. Whew, Mike D's energy is here. And that's fine. I got John Zigafus is here.
Now who's that?
That's my sister's ex.
Oh,
He killed himself.
okay.
He likes hanging out. Hey, John.
So do you like having these people around you, or do you want to be free?
I like it. It stresses me out, but it. I like days off. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And John, he was awesome. He was an awesome DJ.
So what? How do you not go crazy yourself? Like how?
I'm
What do you
talking.
do?
I'm talking to you.
Okay. Okay.
That
Okay.
helps. I do my thing, and every now and again it hits me, and they all hit me hard. I feel like there's 10,000 pounds on me right now.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it feels like.
That's tough.
Hmm.
And it's cold.
Can I say something to you? Um,
Yeah.
I think, and this is just off of my experience, that you should take the fact that you feel their energy, even if they are upset or have what you feel may be negative feelings around them, and use that as your ambition to do better for yourself in life. In fact, use them as an example of how you're supposed to turn things around.
You just woke me up. So I'm not saying that in a weird or bad way, but I can move my arms. I felt trapped for a moment. Sounds so fucking weird. Pardon my language. Carrying demons and spirits and all this shit around with you. And thank you. But
I, I feel that whatever your past or whatever past experiences that you've had with them, you
they're
in a
dead
way
as
have to kind of
fuck.
put them in the past.
Yeah.
And they are there because you had experiences with them. But
Do you
I feel
think
you
they're
should
real?
take the spirit. I feel that there could
I
be
think
some
they're real
real,
to you.
they're
I
real
mean,
for you. I
you're
think it's
feeling
definitely
it.
real for you.
Yeah.
But I would
And
love
that's
for
real.
you to take take that their essence isn't there to haunt you, but more as a motivation for you. Because in a way you're the last hope.
Right.
Not Star Wars.
Yes, I agree with I agree. I think that you're gonna I mean, I don't know like I mean, I don't know if this is challenging your life, you know what I mean? If this is keeping you from happiness or, moving forward, but I mean, if it is, then I mean, I'd hate to say this, but it's you're setting yourself up to be in the same situation, you know what I mean? Because
I'm
that's a
not
lot of
ever gonna kill
pain.
myself.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to hear. But it's a
Fuck.
lot of pain. I can hear it in your voice. It's a lot of pain that you're carrying, you know?
Yeah, Ryan Rodriguez. All these people that fucking hung themselves and shot themselves in the head.
Hmm.
This
They're just coming to you.
is just it's like a blast in the head. And maybe you got that part of the brain that opens up when you're not on medication, or if you are. It's like, have you ever seen the documentary about that lady? Uh, the God darn it.
Is it the medical examiner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
How the part of your brain is open to possession and spirituality and things like
Hmm.
that. Maybe I just need a lobotomy. Who knows? Forget
Well,
about it.
see, I mean, when I was kind of talking to myself while I was waiting for people to come in the room, I think that we all have a purpose. I really do think. I mean, I don't think that it's random, our experiences and why we're here. So I think it's just finding out what it is. I mean, I wouldn't say that you need a lobotomy necessarily, but you might need to like there might be a gift wrapped in what's going on with you. You know?
Yeah, the scary part is, I had a fucking dream. Pardon my
Mm-hmm.
language. I had a dream 2 days ago about this kid that I work with. And when I say kid, he's 20 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
He drives like a maniac. Okay. And he's a good kid. He's a great kid. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have a, he's been through shit his entire life. And so here I am trying to be a part of his life, and this and that. But he drives like a fucking maniac.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he touches, and I work on a fucking farm, and, you know, heavy machinery, this and that, and everything else. I had a dream we were in like an explorer where he was driving like a maniac, like he does, flipped
Mm-hmm.
it over, and we didn't get hurt. But I turned and looked at him, and I was like, "You're a fucking asshole."
Right.
And the next day, he was to the right of me, driving the fucking Bobcat. There was an accident. I was to the right of him, and I don't know. It's strange. It's just clairvoyance,
Oh,
deja
that was
vu,
definitely a
future seeing.
premonition.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it so much. It just my brain gets so fucking tired. That kid's gonna hurt himself. He's gonna dead. He's gonna. I know more dead people than I do living.
Right.
Is that a safe thing to say?
Well, it's your truth. I mean, that's but that's what I'm saying. Like, do you ever think about why though? Like, I mean, to me, obviously, you're with the kid. You're getting the premonition so he doesn't hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right. And
so
he was mad as shit at me. I was like, stop!
right. So I mean, I think it takes some time to realize what your gift is, but it's clear that you're getting this information to keep people from dying.
Have you ever almost died?
I have once
How so?
when I was 7 years old. Tiffany, did you ever go to the me and Tiffany, we went to high school together and school together. We know each other. So
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah. Did
Boy.
you
Cool. Keep her close. Keep you guys stay close together
Oh, thank you.
forever.
Did you ever go to the camp at the Presbyterian church in
Oh, you mean
town
like during the
Sure.
summer?
during the summer? Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
I know what
I
you're talking about, but I never went there.
I went 2 years, and the one year when I was 7, I went, and we used to go to the Chesapeake Bay, and I almost drowned.
I was going to say, is that when you
Where?
almost drowned?
That's when I almost drowned. I almost drowned going out there. I was chasing. There was a camp counselor, and she was in charge of me. And there was this boy that was flirting with her,
And
and he
she was
didn't like me because I was in the way. And I'm jumping out trying to keep up with them, and then the water got too high, and
Oh.
then my legs got tired, and and all of a sudden the water's going over my head and in my throat, and yeah, very scary. But she came and saved me. But you know
True
what?
story.
Sometimes I wonder. I'm like, what if I actually died?
Hmm.
Sometimes I wonder that. You know what I mean? But
You weren't supposed to.
I wasn't supposed to. But that was a very scary experience. You know, because I could swim, but I couldn't swim that well.
Yeah,
And you
you
know,
weren't.
once you get tired, it doesn't even matter if you can swim or not.
No, you just give up.
You just give up. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause the Lord knew your mom shouldn't go to prison.
That's right. Oh, she'd have been upset. She'd have been upset. But
She'd have been pissed. Oh gosh, darn it.
that's right. Yeah. But that, I mean, after that, I mean, I have been very blessed though. I'm always the person that misses out on things where
Mm,
things
mm,
are, you
What
know,
death?
yeah, well, death
yeah,
or danger, you know.
shootings.
I'm conveniently occupied when things are happening in other places, like the
Well,
Biggie concert at Pulsations. I was
well,
supposed to be
remember
there.
you and I missed a shooting when we went to our high school reunion.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You and I
Yep.
were supposed to be
May
there.
Right. Right.
may
I
I
forgot
ask,
about that.
ladies, may I ask your age? I know you don't.
46.
We're
I'm
46.
41. I'll, I'm 41, so
Okay.
You're a
Yeah.
younger.
generation.
No, my first near death experience was my parents. We were in the Gulf. We had a timeshare at Fort Myers Beach, and we just I decided to swim out and see what this guy was doing out by the buoys, right off the shelf where a riptide was.
Mm-hmm.
He was poaching sand dollars. Now, the way it works, you're allowed to take two sand dollars at a time. That's a lot. He's collecting them for
Okay.
whatever he's doing. I was like, "What are you doing out here?" Because I was a little kid. And then my sister swims out, and our parents are just, they're on the beach somewhere doing whatever. We didn't even think of it, but this is like 1,000 yards away. We had to run through the ocean, swim, get over the sandbar, and get out here. So we're way out in the fucking Gulf. And he's like, "What are you kids doing out here?" I'm like, "We're seeing what you're doing." He's like, "Well, I'm collecting sand dollars, and this is how you do it. And you find them with your feet. Same with starfish."
Hmm.
And I went to float away, and he grabbed me by the arm. He's like, "Nope, you don't want to do that," and pulled me right back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then about that time, he handed us each two, you know, and our parents are yelling. Oh, that was weird. I could have just floated away into nowhere.
Right? Yeah.
And that man, even though he was doing something bad, he saved my life
Yeah.
twice. Here I am, 41 years old, fucking sitting here at the Bread Clip studio, on a cigarette. Second time I should have died. My
And
sister
the same
tried.
guy saved your life?
What's that?
The same guy saved your life the second time?
Twice. I tried to float away into the rip current.
Oh wow.
Nightmares, right? Well,
Yeah.
we could talk on another episode if you want. I don't need to fill your ears with my entire life story every time I tried to
Right.
die or went to jail or. But there's a reason I'm here.
Hmm.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's unfortunate. I don't know what the fuck it is.
you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I love animals. I went to school to be a chef, and then I became a butcher, and now I make food for them. I work in a feed mill. So I cooked them, I cut them, now I feed them.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what my life purpose is. I've never had any children with a woman for 11 years. In the past, three ladies and things have just not worked out.
Right.
So, hey, fucking psychopath. Who knows?
Well, I doubt you're a psychopath.
Yeah, I'm doing my best to not, but
Can I ask why you think you're a psychopath, though?
yeah, because I think weird shit, weird scenarios, and something strange in my life is I can pick up a gun, take it apart, put it back together, but I don't shoot guns. But if you
So,
put it in front of me, I can do it.
maybe you've got some sort of like Monarch MK Ultra thing going on.
I don't know what that means.
Well, that I will be talking about that on the next episode. And, you make sure you call in. We'll examine it. But there's Monarch programming where your consciousness is splintered, and your programmers and handlers, they train you to be assassins and all kinds of things, and you don't have conscious knowledge of it, but you might have muscle memory of it. Just like you say, you don't mess with guns, but you know how to take them apart and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And
So
I
that's
don't, it's just you put it in front of me, and like that asshole Bubba Gump, or not Bubba Gump, uh, Forrest Gump. And just,
yeah. So we'll talk about that.
hey, if you'd have me in, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, there's a whole thing that goes into it. It's like there's trauma, and you know that's how
I'm
the
not,
information is transferred. But I think that would be a good next show, talking about the Monarch programming, MK Ultra. Because even though they say that it doesn't go on anymore, I don't believe that. So okay, well it is twelve
so what
thirty.
you saying? It's like what? Somebody's gonna press a button and I'm gonna go kill somebody?
That could be a possibility, yeah. Or you get a
Fuck
phone
my
call,
life.
yeah. That's how it happens. But it bypasses your consciousness. It goes right to your subconscious. You don't. Um, do you like a lot of the people that remember when we had that like string of movie theater um,
Mm.
shootings, and a lot of times the people that were witnesses that survived, that saw the person who shot the movie theater up, they said the person presented as completely normal, and then something
Right.
happened, and then they went off and decide, and then
Huh.
and a lot of times those people don't end up surviving, so they don't get questioned as to what happened, what went off in their brain. But if you have skills and you don't know where they came from, I mean, you got to wonder how you have those abilities, right?
Thanks for the nightmares.
Look, I'm not trying to give you any nightmares. I'm just saying, you know,
It's not like you
something,
would remember it anyway.
right? Exactly. so, so,
I'm a nice person, but
yeah,
isn't every serial killer?
yeah. So, but
I've always thought of
I'm gonna.
myself as a
You always thought of yourself as what?
soldier of Christ. Um,
Okay, okay. Do you have military experience?
no,
Okay.
I have zero
used to there used to be a person that worked for my dad, and he he was a very interesting person because well he was part of the circus at one point. He did have military
Blue,
experience.
doo, 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 doo,
Exactly,
doo.
right? I've never met anybody who actually was a part of the circus. Like,
Really?
yeah. And he was so smart, super duper smart. Like he could take apart
Super duper.
super duper smart. You know he's really smart then, right? He could take
Yeah.
apart engines. He was like a genius electrician. He could do all this stuff, but he had a substance problem, right? And mainly because he was trying to push away some of the experiences, some of the traumas that he had when he was in the military. Um, and then he was also like a foster child, like a he didn't know who his parents were. He had a lot, but he was a genius. And I mean, I could ask him anything or ask him about anything, and he knew about it, knew how to do it. And I swear he was like a black ops like soldier type person. Even though he wouldn't talk about it, like that was one thing he wouldn't talk about, his military experience. But he just had these skills, and he would be trying to like you know subdue his memories with drugs. Um, but like I mean, he was an extremely interesting person. He's now like getting his life together to some degree. Um, that last I heard of him, or, heard about him, but I think you can come back from anything. I don't know what he had to do. He obviously didn't want to talk about it, but you just got to make peace with yourself because it's you ultimately that is like hurting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't done like I mean I wouldn't I've done evil things, so to speak. Evil in my eyes, things that I'm
How
ashamed of.
so?
Well, I'm not going to share them here.
Why not? I've shared mine.
Well, yeah.
Trying to think what evil you've done.
I mean, just evil. I mean, just evil things that I'm not proud
Oh,
of. You know what I mean? Like,
really? Oh,
I mean, it's just I But see, it's not. It's like
laugh
how
out of you.
things. What'd you say?
I got a laugh out of you.
You gotta laugh at it. I've been laughing. I've been chuckling the whole time. That's how I deal with stuff. I
Yeah,
try
me
to
too.
find like the lighter side, humorous side of it. But it's
I'm a
kind of
comedian with a machine gun.
right. Yeah. So, but I'm just saying, like those things can haunt you regardless. You know what I mean? Like, I may not have. I mean, there are certain things that I haven't done that would be considered evil by some people's judgments, but it's like there's things that haunt me, but I have to I have to forgive
Did you
myself.
have to do it to survive?
At the time, I did think I had to do it to survive. Yes,
So
I
then
thought that it was the only
it's okay.
option. Yeah, you know what I mean. So
Forgive yourself.
yeah, well, I do because I figure if I didn't do it, then my life would have been worse.
Have you ever had a gun in your mouth?
Gosh, no, no.
Okay then.
I don't even like guns. I don't like anything to do with
Nobody
guns.
does.
Yeah,
I don't like them either.
yeah. I mean, there's some people like my ex-husband. He's into guns, and I'm like, don't bring them. Don't bring them around the kids. Don't bring them. I don't like guns whatsoever.
You're doing a good thing. I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
No need to thank me. Thank you.
So,
I'm thanking you. Thank you for having me.
well, I'm gonna shut this party down. So, I already have a child on the floor asleep here. So So my commitment is to be here every Saturday at 11. That's my commitment. So I will be here next Saturday, and I'm the next show is gonna be about MK Ultra. So I hope you
I'm
come
gonna
back.
bug the shit out of you.
Okay, okay, because I that's my other like the interest. That mind control programming. That's very interesting to me.
You've
So
already mind controlled.
yeah. So well, thank you for joining me. Thanks, Tiffany. I
Yeah,
appreciate the
sorry,
support.
bothered you.
Oh, it's not a bother. It only works if people show up and talk. So, so otherwise, I'll be talking to myself, which I'm quite comfortable doing, but I don't want to.
Sound like my dead grandmother.
Oh, really? Mm.
She talked to herself all the time. Be like, Grandma, what are you talking about? Oh, I'm
And she
just
said, none
talking
of
to
your
myself.
business,
I do it all the time.
right? Listen,
I have the
sometimes
best
it's the best
conversations.
conversations,
I'm talking to the smartest person in the room normally. So
right?
Nice.
I like it when I go out into the store and start talking to myself, and then people are looking at me, and I'm just like, I'm talking about different prices and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
you got,
work it out.
you got to work it out. That's
You got to
right.
work it out in your
Real,
head.
for real.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I walk by ladies at Walmart or Meijer or Target or Target, as I like to call it,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be just looking at the prices, just talking to themselves. I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse me. They'll be like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Could you grab that off the top shelf? I had a woman that I had a conversation with at a Save a Lot find me 1 aisle away and say, hey, can you grab me string cheese? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't know how that connection happened, but she was an aisle away and there was all kinds of people in the way, and I'm just, me walking through. And it's fucking weird. My life's fucked.
Did you have like a polo shirt on and it looked like maybe you worked there?
No.
Because it might have been just that. She's like, oh, he must work here.
No, I had my work shirt. I have a work shirt, work
Mm-hmm.
shirts, and I have a uniform I wear. You
Okay.
goddamn fucking farmer asshole. Not you guys aren't assholes. I'm a farmer asshole,
I hear
and
you.
I wear boots and the stupid fucking dicky pants and the uniform button-up shirt that says your job and your name on the left side. I don't even know how it happened. She's like, "Oh hey, all the way from across the store." I'm fumbling through my form. Can you grab me some string cheese? I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." And it's yeah, I guess I did feel like I worked there. Son
Mm-hmm.
of a bitch. I used to be a butcher, but not for them. Fuck.
Yeah.
Huh. Her name is Fawn. I know her name.
Oh wow. Y'all got on a first name basis.
Yeah, I bumped into. I was like, "Excuse me." And we got chatting. Uh, She's like, "Oh, hi, Nick." I'm like, "I don't know you." She's like, "Well, it says it right there in your shirt." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Your uniform." And yeah, it has my fucking name on it. It doesn't say Boogie. I asked
Mm-hmm.
them to say Boogie Nights. They're like,
Yeah.
"No, we're not gonna do that." What's your first name? It was fucking Nick. Hey, guess what? You guys are the first ones to know my first name. Son of a bitch! Now there's people
Oh,
knowing
you
my
done doxed
fucking.
yourself. Now
Ah,
we're gonna look you up. Me and Tiffany, we're good
yeah,
on the surveillance and looking up stuff. So
I'm an
yeah.
investigator. That's
Find out,
my
yeah,
job.
every single nick in the world. All right, you're
we
gonna
know
find them.
we know what state you're in already. Like
Yeah, no, I'm cool with
we
it. I
we
already
have
gave you
a.
my ammo.
I believe that we should have been investigators in a past life or something. Uh-huh.
Well, that's my job now.
That's your job now. Okay.
That's my job now.
Oh
So you're
shit!
not even dusty. You're not even rusty. So you got your skills on point right now. See, okay, watch
Don't
out.
get me fired.
Yeah, yeah.
I swear to God, I didn't murder those people.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So, well, it was nice meeting you. I'm gonna call you
Oh,
by your boogie nights name. Uh,
thank you.
and uh, and you know, Tiffy, we'll talk. So
I
I
can't
will.
wait to hang out with you guys again, man.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Freaking
next
out.
Saturday, 11 o'clock. I'll be here.
That's a perfect
You
time
you
now.
gave me my topic for next week, which is going to be MK Ultra. So
It's
we'll
only
see.
128 hours away.
Really, is that how long away is that? Is
That's a week.
that's a
128
week?
hours.
See, I don't. I'm not good with numbers like that, so I don't categorize things like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well,
Like you say that, I'm like, that's really cool, but I would never like calculate it. You know?
there's
Oh no, you are
525,600.
speaking Greek to me now.
There are there are 525,600 minutes in a year.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
That's in
I
a
never
song.
thought about it. Oh yeah. 525,600 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's from. Isn't that from Rent?
500. Yep.
Yeah,
Boom. Nailed it.
yeah. See, I could probably
Um,
learn it. I could learn it by memorizing the song, but I couldn't calculate it.
yeah. Yeah.
That's how numbers are with me. So,
Well, I hope I'm number one. Du-dum-tsh.
well, I appreciate you for joining me today because I was prepared. Like I said, I was prepared to talk to myself. So I will see you guys next week. Tiffany, I hope you join me next week too.
Yeah,
Sorry I ruined your
Yeah,
show.
I miss our show. Me and Tiffany used to have a podcast. I miss it sometimes.
I know. We got to get back to it.
I know. But
We got to figure this out.
you know what's crazy about that is that like a lot of the information that we put out there, like on TikTok, people are doing like 3 minutes of the same type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What's your
Well, you know,
TikToks?
people are still listening to it.
People,
It's
yeah,
not,
people are still, yeah,
they're still listening to it. They still watch our videos. We get more hits on the podcast side than we do on the video side, but they
TikTok's
still,
fucked.
they still look at it. Well, they still listen to it. So, because
yeah.
because it's evergreen. So you're going to
It's
always need
evergreen,
that.
right?
You're always going to need that information. So,
Yeah. You're on
You're
TikTok too?
evergreen on TikTok? Yeah, on Boogie Nights.
No, we're not evergreen on TikTok, but we're on YouTube. We have podcasts or a YouTube show that we did. So, but it's totally different than this type of
Oh yeah.
information.
oh yeah, way different.
Totally.
How so? What's up? Now you give me
It
a.
was about like making money and being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Being moms
Oh,
and running businesses, and
Yeah.
we took different subject matters for business, whether like try to take what was happening like with celebrities and turn it into business talk.
Yep.
that'd be cool to be a part of. I
Yeah.
think I could blow your minds.
Oh, don't tell me you've got like some business experience now too.
A little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see?
I
So,
heard
and
of
that's why you're supposed to do some certain things. So
you
Yeah.
know,
you have to
I'm the
stop beating
smartest
yourself up.
idiot you've ever met in your life. Guarantee you
Yeah.
that.
That, that's why you have to stop beating yourself up for things that have happened in the past. You can't change it.
No.
And you're the one that's still here, so you're the one that has to live it.
Thank you. Try to respond.
No.
Oh, typing.
Well, I'm just adding it to my list of why I think maybe you're a Monarch MK Ultra person. So we'll see. We'll see.
I,
I'll have a whole checklist for
AI.
you next week.
I'm not AI. So it's a whole
So,
nother subject.
mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be back next week. Make sure long as my phone gives me my notification, we'll be good.
Okay. Okay.
Or
I'll
I'm
see
gonna
you in
go
I
find
will
a.
send
I got a bath ready to go. I'm gonna grab a toaster and we'll talk to you later.
Oh gosh.
you.
Just don't
You
haunt
late.
me. Just don't haunt me.
No,
I like to
it's
sleep.
my
I
plan.
don't like to be
Nope.
disturbed. So if
No
you're
longer
flying
sleeping.
through the universe, just
Oh,
skip over
yeah.
for watching. See you next week. MK Ultra Monarch programming. Let's talk about it.